past the age of 60. This is the reason why some people start ignoring everyone and end up being happy as a result. Almost everyone experiences this at some point after the age of 60, yet it is rarely discussed aloud. It comes softly and without any fuss. You wake up one day and discover that you no longer feel the need to justify yourself. The strain to please everyone is not as great. You no longer feel compelled to take every call, respond to every message, or endure every exhausting chat. Rather, an increasing want for solitude, simplicity, and space is present. Surprisingly, the yearning doesn't feel isolated. It is serene. Your life revolves around other people while you're younger. You follow their lead. You pay attention to their opinions. You're concerned about how people perceive you. You modify yourself to blend in with social circles, workplaces, families, and rooms. This is how you grow and survive in your youth. To learn, you must connect. To find your spot, you must be approved. People must open doors for you. However, something deep within changes after the age of 60. The desire to be noticed wanes. It becomes less important to be heard. How you feel when you're by yourself starts to take precedence over everything else. Many senior citizens observe a significant decline in their ability to tolerate emotional drama, loudness, and commotion. Once manageable situations now feel draining, lengthy discussions that don't progress. People who never stop complaining. Repetitive arguments. Duties that aren't enjoyable. All of that is just too much for your neurological system to handle anymore. It desires peace. It seeks security. It desires to feel in charge of your time and energy. Thus, you start to retreat almost unconsciously. This is where a lot of folks get the situation wrong. It may appear from the outside that you are become chilly or aloof. You may appear to be losing interest in other people. On the inside, however, it feels very different. You feel as though you are at last paying attention to yourself. You feel as though you are guarding something valuable. Because energy is no longer limitless at this point in life, you have neither the physical nor the emotional capacity to waste it on circumstances that make you feel worse than when you started. In this situation, ignoring someone does not imply being callous or cold. It's about deciding how to spend your finite energy. The act of ceasing to answer all calls or reply to all messages does not constitute rejection. You're paying respect to yourself. You are expressing that your tranquility, your well-being, and your peace of mind are important, even if only to yourself. After 60, something really honest also occurs. You become more aware of people. You can tell who values you and who just wastes your time. You can tell who talks and who listens. You become aware of who makes you feel comfortable and who makes you feel anxious. You could have disregarded these things when you were younger because you were so in need of connection. However, you can't act as though you don't see them anymore. Everything changes because of that insight. It now feels normal to distance yourself from people who constantly make you feel exhausted. All of a sudden, avoiding discussions that often degenerate into arguments seems reasonable. Suddenly, rather than trying to keep up with everyone, it feels appropriate to spend more time alone or with a select group of individuals you can trust. And when you do this, something unexpected occurs. You begin to feel lighter. Your mind becomes more relaxed. Your body becomes more relaxed. You get better sleep. The emotional burden of other people's issues, demands, or emotions is no longer on you. At last, you can live your life as you choose. This initially causes remorse in many elderly folks. All of their lives, they have been taught to always be available, helpful, and courteous. They fear that retreating indicates a lack of empathy or selfishness. In actuality, however, kids are learning something crucial. They are discovering that setting limits is not inhumane. They are an expression of respect for oneself. People can be important to you without draining you. Without allowing your family unrestricted access to your time and feelings, you can still love them. You don't have to be available all the time to be kind. When you've lived long enough to see how much energy you've squandered in the past, attempting to keep everyone else comfortable, these realities become clearer. This change frequently occurs in silence. You come to the realization one day that you don't want to explain yourself to someone who doesn't pay much attention. On another occasion, you choose not to attend an event that you know will make you uncomfortable. Once again, you decide to remain at home rather than attempting to engage in a meaningless conversation. These little choices add up. They establish a new way of living that is more in line with your true self, simpler and more tranquil. Ignoring some people is basically a decision to prioritize peace above performance. You're not playing a part anymore. You no longer smile because you have to. You've stopped acting as though you're interested when you're not. The fact that you are being truthful with yourself is incredibly liberating. This has a biological component as well. Our brains are more susceptible to stress as we age. The physical toll of confrontation, emotional strain, and loud voices is more than it was previously. For this reason, older adults frequently yearn for calm mornings, leisurely routines, and days that are predictable. All the nervous system is requesting is some kindness. You are providing your body with the nourishment it needs to remain healthy when you distance yourself from others who are constantly making emotional noise. This explains why so many people start to prefer their own company around the age of 60. They like to read, go for walks, relax quietly, or engage in easy pastimes. These are not meaningless times. They're sleeping a lot. They are replete with introspection. They exude a tranquility that is difficult to find in a busy, demanding environment. Building fences is not the same as ignoring people. It involves making room for people to breathe, think, and feel without being disturbed. And something lovely frequently grows there. Your own thoughts start to sound clearer to you. You start to realize what you really like. You start to rediscover aspects of yourself that were suppressed by years of social pressure and obligation. This explains why so many people say they feel happy when they retire after the age of 60. They're not as lonely as people think. They feel a sense of relief. They're no longer being pulled in 100 different directions. They are no longer controlling the feelings of others. At last, they are leading a sustainable lifestyle. When you're with the proper people or alone yourself, you can find that you laugh more readily. You might have a sense of mental clarity. You might discover that simple pleasures, like a peaceful evening at home or a cup of coffee in the morning, make you happier than a full social schedule ever did. This does not indicate a problem with you. It's an indication that you're returning to yourself. You also start to subtly sort the individuals in your life as this is going on. In a natural, almost instinctual way, rather than in a harsh or hostile manner, you become aware of the relationships that make you feel good and those that drain you of it. You keep your decisions to yourself. You just start to appear less frequently in situations where you don't feel comfortable. It's okay to distance yourself from some people. Simply put, they are no longer healthy for you. Perhaps they whine all the time. Perhaps they add drama. Perhaps they have unrealistic expectations. Perhaps they never pay much attention. You finally allow yourself to let go of that burden as you get older. Even if it may not seem like it to others, there is a profound wisdom in this. You've learned what's important from life. Furthermore, the number of people who know your name is no longer important. It's the tranquility of your days. It's the sensation of having a lighter heart when you wake up in the morning. It's the amount of room you need just to be. This marks the start of a more peaceful and prosperous phase of life. One in which you don't have to defend your decisions. One in which you don't feel guilty about wanting to be tranquil. One where you realize that being surrounded by peace, rather than people, is what brings contentment. Something more is made abundantly evident when people get used to this more subdued phase. Not every relationship is created equal. While some gradually wear you down, others give you a boost. You frequently remain in toxic relationships when you're younger because you feel compelled to. You might think that being a decent person entails always being available, or you might fear being by yourself. But after you're 60, you realize that giving all the time without getting anything in return leaves you feeling empty, and life cannot be enjoyed by an empty heart. At this point, a lot of senior citizens start to gradually distance themselves from particular kinds of people. Those that drain your emotional energy are the first. They are the ones who constantly have issues, complain, and require something from you. Every discussion feels burdensome. Rather than feeling inspired, you depart feeling exhausted. You eventually come to the realization that you can't continue to pour from a cup that is already low. So, out of self-preservation rather than rage, you begin to withdraw yourself. Then there are some that attempt to exert control over you. There will always be folks who believe they know how you should live, even if you're 60 or 70. They advise you on how to manage your finances, time, relationships, and health. They talk as though you're still a kid in need of direction. That kind of involvement is intolerable at this point in life. You deserve to live your life as you see fit, so you stop talking, you don't quarrel, you just take a step back. Some people also thrive on drama and attention. Every exchange turns into a show. There's always disagreement, gossip, or emotional turmoil. This can be thrilling when you're young. As you get older, it becomes draining. You're not patient with needless chaos anymore. Peace, not show, is what you seek. Therefore, you discreetly leave those settings. The intriguing thing is that you can accomplish this without confronting anyone. Big speeches and spectacular exits are not necessary. You just cease to appear as frequently. You respond less. You spend more time at home. You prefer quiet to loudness. And gradually, your life becomes more tranquil. This is based on a profound philosophical fact. A calm life is created by eliminating what disturbs the soul, according to knowledgeable thinkers who have held this belief for thousands of years. According to Stoic philosophers, inner peace results from allowing your emotions to remain unaffected by the actions of others. In later life, Carl Jung talked about the significance of looking inside, letting go of the need for approval from others, and finding your true self beneath all the roles you have performed. This wisdom becomes more than simply a concept as you age. It becomes a part of who you are. You have a gut feeling that you don't have to justify yourself anymore. You don't have to prove your value to anyone anymore. You don't have to engage in discussions that don't benefit you anymore. At last, you have the freedom to do what feels right. Naturally, at first, this adjustment may feel unsettling. Guilt can accompany letting go of people, especially those that drain you. You may be concerned with the opinions of others. You may worry about being misinterpreted, yet eventually a lovely thing occurs. The tranquility endures while the guilt subsides. You understand you're not getting cold. You are starting to make sense. What you want and what you will no longer put up with are clear to you now. There are significant advantages to this clarity. Your thoughts calm down. You cease mentally reliving discussions. You give up worrying about your appearance. Because it is no longer preparing for confrontation, your body relaxes. Simply by lowering the emotional cacophony surrounding them, many people discover that they sleep better, have less anxiety, and enjoy life more. Additionally, you become aware of how much more luxurious your days feel. Simple moments take on significance. Drinking coffee in the morning without hurrying, strolling slowly, and sitting by a window. Obligations that don't benefit you no longer interrupt these little moments. At last, you have room to properly savor them. Many people are unaware that this is not a form of life withdrawal. It is a more profound interaction with it. You have more energy for the things that really count when you stop putting it into things that exhaust you. Your world may get smaller, but it will get warmer and more serene if you are more thankful, present, and attentive. Beyond all, this calm transition beyond 60 is not about shutting out the outside world. It's about making your own decision. It's about realizing how much you've already contributed. You have spent decades working, raising families, taking care of people, and carrying out duties. You deserve to have a calm life now. A busy schedule is not as valuable as a tranquil heart. More valuable than continuous chatter is a calm mind. And sometimes taking a step back, letting the noise subside, and ultimately enjoying the peace you have earned is the most considerate thing you can do for yourself.